Ever spend hours and hours revising for an exam only to absolutely bomb it and then get hit with the dreaded, well, you should have studied harder? If you've been there, then this video is for you. Your time is valuable, and learning how to study smarter, not harder, will not only boost your grades, it will change your entire life. Now, the absolute hands down most effective technique when it comes to studying smarter, not harder, is incorporating some form of active recall into your revision. Active recall is scientifically proven to help you learn information faster and retain information for longer. So why not do more in less time? I personally think flashcards are a great way to incorporate active recall into your study routine. This doesn't have to mean writing out hundreds and hundreds of flashcards like you see those other people in your class do, and they've just got those piles and piles of those WH Smith decks of flashcards. No, it doesn't have to mean that. Although if you've got time and you're in like beginning of year 12 and you're revising for your A-levels, I do recommend writing flashcards as you go along, because it makes it so much easier when it actually comes to exam season. But what I did a couple of months before my A-levels, because I started panicking and thinking, oh my God, I'm not using active recall. I haven't written a single flashcard. What do I do? Because I want to start using flashcards, is I got a whole bunch of pre-written Quizlet decks. I imported them to my Anki using an extension, and I would basically use these as a baseline level of my revision to test myself and to incorporate active recall into my study routine. That's definitely something I would recommend trying if you do want to try out using flashcards, but you don't want to spend hours and hours writing them out. There's loads of other techniques that you can try out. You could self-quiz yourself, or you could use blurting that I also used to use when I was revising for my exams, particularly biology and content heavy subjects. Basically what blurting is you close your revision guide or whatever resource you were revising from, and you write out as much as you can remember about a particular topic, and then you go back over the guide and you see what you missed out, so that you know the areas that you need to focus on and the things that you didn't remember as well. Keep doing that until you miss out less and less, and that information is basically logged into your memory. This is such a great way to use your time effectively and to know that your revision is actually worthwhile. Once you stop relying on passive forms of learning and turn to active recall, I promise you will see your grades skyrocket. Next up on my list is past papers. These are an absolute game changer because they don't just test your knowledge, they teach you exactly how you need to apply it. Application is the most important thing when it comes to learning proper exam technique. Don't worry if you feel you haven't revised enough to sit a past paper and do well yet. I used to do past papers before I'd even started looking at the content, and I would do so badly. Sit it anyway, because then you'll start to spot patterns in the types of questions that come up, and it's a great way to see what topics require more of your attention, so that you're not spending hours and hours revising a subject or a particular topic that you're already good at. Instead, you can sit the paper, then review it, and come up with a traffic light system, highlighting the topics that you're worst at in red, and spend more time focusing on those areas in your revision session to ensure that you're using your time wisely. Now, my next point is a little controversial. Stop writing notes. I used to spend hours and hours and hours writing pages and pages of these beautifully color-coded notes that I thought were going to allow me to remember absolutely every piece of information that I needed to remember in the exam. Spoiler alert, I didn't. They were an absolute waste of my time. Once I started reading my revision guides and explaining them to myself out loud as I go along, I would start basically teaching myself, and my revision became so much more effective. So if you haven't tried this technique, guys, already, I highly recommend that you try it. The only things that I would write down would be extremely simple bullet point mind maps that would just summarize the key points in the guide or the textbook that I've just read from. I would basically read over these the night before my exam out loud, like I said, and explain it to myself as a way to just jog my memory. But everyone works differently, so find what works for you. If you know that you're spending hours and hours writing out notes and it's just not working out right now, then maybe it's time to switch it up. Now, what's the one key thing that all successful people have in common? Organization. Having a solid study plan will save you so much time and so much mental energy. Make sure to prioritize your hardest subjects first in each revision session when your brain is still at its sharpest, so you can be the most focused and the most energized when it matters the most. The key thing when it comes to writing a really good revision timetable is incorporating time for yourself. I mean scheduling out when you're going to go to the gym, when you're going to see your friends, when you're going to I don't know, rest and relax, read a book, have time to yourself, because you need your brain to properly recharge and you need to have a good balance to make sure that you're actually staying consistent without burning out. Staying organized will make sure that you're allocating your time wisely and you'll know exactly what you're doing so that you're not wasting time and mental energy deciding what to study next. This completely changed how stressed out I was in exam season, and it made it so much easier for me to want to sit down at my desk and get done the things that I wanted to do, because I knew that I'd actually scheduled in time for myself to rest and to relax. Now, speaking of burnout, this brings me to my final tip: pace yourself. Studying properly and effectively is like running a marathon, not a sprint. You can't give it your all in the first 20 meters and be absolutely exhausted for the rest of the run, because you're not going to do well. You're just not going to succeed. And so many people make the rookie mistake of starting off like this, thinking, okay, that's it. You know, I'm in a flow state. I'm going to go like this for hours and hours and I'm not going to take a break. Literally, you couldn't do anything worse. That's such a bad idea. I would personally never study for more than 90 minutes at a time. Even if I was in the flow state and I felt like I was really concentrated and focused, I would take myself away from my desk and I would make sure that I took a break for at least 10 minutes to recharge myself. The Pomodoro technique of 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off never really worked for me, but that's only because I would feel like it would pull me out of my concentration as soon as I was actually starting to get in the zone. But if it works for you, that's great. The key is finding your sweet spot and how long you think you can go without getting burnt out, but still staying concentrated. But the most important thing when it comes to recharging your brain is changing your environment. So take yourself away from your desk. Do not scroll on TikTok. Whatever you do, please, I literally beg of you, don't scroll on that thing. You will be there for hours and you will not want to go back and study. Take yourself away from your desk, go for a walk, keep your mind and brain active so that you can feel properly recharged and ready to get back into it the moment that you sit back down on your desk. Because once you've worked at one place for long enough, your brain starts to associate that with the thing that you're doing there. If you're sitting on your desk and studying there for 3 hours in a row, and then you're like, okay, I've got a 10-minute break, but you're still sitting at your desk, your brain's not going to think, oh, okay, she's got a break. It's going to think she's still studying. She's still working. I still need to be focused and locked in. And you're not going to be able to actually relax and recharge and get back to it when you actually need to. That's it, guys. Those are my top 5 tips for studying efficiently and effectively and knowing that you're working smarter, not harder, which it's so true. Learn how to do that, change your life. I guarantee that if you incorporate at least 1 or 2 of these into your current study routine, you'll see a major difference, because once I started doing these things, I just started to view studying completely differently. Remember, the key is to study smart, stay organized, and just find what works for you, because everybody's different. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and share your favorite study tip down in the comments below. And stay tuned if you want more videos specifically on the techniques that I use to revise for my GCSEs and A-levels and get 9s and A stars in them. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.